Yeah. So copy the link. There we go. Everyone. So now we got this shit started. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Elodin, you wanna do the introduction?
Okay, why not? So hello, I'm Elodin. I'm the R5 of GDT in 581. And we have been thinking for some time in some other channels to figure out a way to influence Camel, to basically get a lot of the VIP players and the vets together to kind of figure out what's wrong with the game, why do nations die, what's the mechanics, what's the social impact that's happening. And we have come up with some ideas, we wrote them down, and we kind of wanted to use this podcast or this platform to create like a record where we outline what we see is the problem, and then hopefully we can get this to Camel to have a look at it and said, yeah, that makes sense. We may want to change something. We may want to, adjust the game. I myself, I play this game since 3 or 4 years. I forgot, probably 3.5 years. uh, and yeah, I've been the R5 for 1.5 years now. I done one merger, which was successful for the first 2 months, and then obviously it broke apart because we had different opinions of how the nation should run, which happens quite often in many nations, I think.
Yeah.
So that kind of really prompted me to look into what's the thinking here, what's wrong. So I have a kind of some talking points I want to go through uh, and see what are your thoughts, and you had a similar experience or not, and then kind of going from there.
Yeah, so the first point we have is evolution evolution of the gameplay from solo play to the team play. And
So I think
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so I think everybody. I'm not sure how many of you remember when they started out in this game. I remember I started out. I got to level 18, and my R5, my alliance, was never really listening, and I was like kind of confused. And then I got into the first void, and I got zeroed. I didn't even know why. And I was just, what? Why? What? Why do people attack me? What's happening here? So, and then I kind of discovered the nation chat, and like, oh, there are bigger alliances. Oh, there are different alliances. Oh, they have some agreements. And as C18, I finally joined the top alliance. And I believe that, the game ends at C24. It's good enough. I don't need to be more than that. C24 looks good.
Dude,
Both
I
for
had the
neighbors.
exact same
Yeah.
experience in 183. You can't imagine that. I was zeroed every single void. I was purged every time, and I didn't get it until I discovered all the chats. And then there
Yeah.
was one guy who just guided me through all that. And then at some point I joined 571, where I got into the game a bit more. And in the end, we merged into the same nation, but we never got to know each other somehow. But yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
correct. Yeah. You're wrong. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah. So
that's.
kind of.
Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
what I kind of what we are seeing is basically the game in its early stage is really a solo play because everybody discovers the game, everybody discovers their city, and what to do with it, how to actually build it. So a lot of people just do solo. There is an alliance, there is a greater nation. Not a lot of people actually care about that. And then the moment you're getting like to C20, when your nation goes to C20, everybody discovers, oh, there are alliances. Oh, there is something going on. Oh, there are cross-nation events. The whole playing of the game shifts from being a solo player into now I need to fit into an alliance. And people need to basically get taught, oh, how to play an alliance, how to play group attacks, how to build your city. And I think from the gameplay, it's a very smart move to get this done by Camel, because the moment you play as a team, the moment you have team members, the moment you have alliances, the game has a much stronger bond because you feel compelled to log in. You make friendships, you talk to people, you got voice chat, you have integration into the game environment, and that keeps the game alive. So I feel like from the concept of transitioning from solo play into group play, it's a very smart move for Camel to have implemented.
Yeah, that's right. And there we go to the biggest problem, or there comes the biggest problem. Uh, People don't understand where this changing point is, or that there's this changing point, and they somehow keep this once they have the super alliances, once we formed all the stuff in the nation, and they just think about that we are one now. We don't fight in the nation anymore. We don't have the nation KE anymore. We just have the void, and we have to play as a team. And some people might be just a bit egoistic, or maybe they're not the smartest, but some of them are just resistant to teaching. So, for example, they still do
experienced it, yeah.
They still do their stupid SOS attacks during Void, and it's just not smart to directly do your SOS attack at the beginning of Void, because when you go out hunting, you need your SOS in case you get fucked up by defenders. And some players still use the 1-1-98 formation during Void events when you do big group attacks, even though you told them minimum 100 times that they need to send big front lines, like 30-40% frontline. So you can, just keep up the battle.
So that was kind of the transition from 1-1-98 into like bringing frontline. Oh, that was an endless fight in my alliance. We had that about 1.5 years ago, shortly after the first merge, and trying to get people to bring frontline, and people would not bring because I'm losing them.
Dude.
Yeah, so does everybody else.
Dude, in my first couple nations, that was such a mess. We had so few experienced players. But in 9-3, we were just lucky. We had like 20, 25 experienced players at the beginning. And we just had this fluent, transition. So we had everybody use frontline somehow. I mean, if God is in here and able to talk, he can say something about it in 9-3. But I don't think it was big of a mistake if you have this kind of mindset from the beginning on, you know?
Ryder, we still got that problem. We still got that problem.
Really?
I'm not gonna
wait, let me find some report.
That 1-1-1. Yeah, find some. I can guarantee. Check
No
the big
fucking
reports.
way.
You're gonna find people with
Okay, let me check the little boss one.
It,
the ones with low losses, probably. Well, but no. Everybody has high losses, so it means they lost front line. Or they just were bullshit with you and sent T7 to some shit like that. No. Okay, no. You're right. 15,000 tanks, that's nothing.
I can guarantee it. I'm telling you,
right? Yeah, you're right. But it was better than in most of the other nations I played in. So it's important to have or trust the experienced players in the beginning to just go through that and just trust them to a certain point. I know in the beginning most people don't look into the YouTube stuff or don't get into the community stuff on Discord, but it's important for you to, well, if you're some new player and you see this, it's important for you to listen to your experienced players so they guide you through this. They played this or they played this game already. So it's kind of important that you just trust them to a certain point. But yeah, that's the biggest problem, trusting people in this game.
Yeah, and that kind of brings us into the second part of that whole story. What are your options?
Yeah.
If you want to build a nation, if you are R4 or R5, what can you actually do in your alliance? You know, and that's where I think Camel has made a mistake of transitioning the game from solo to group team, but it hasn't given us the tools to actually manage a team. I mean, like we are playing in one alliance with 100 people from all over the world with different backgrounds, different age groups, different time zones, different cultural, and you need to figure out how to bring that,
Yeah. So, for example, I think
and
you said that with the, or you wrote that down with the scouting players in your own alliance. You can't really check
yeah,
whether the person is building the right build unless you actively get them to talk. But most
yes,
people in well, some people are just not that talkative and they don't get on chat and show their stuff. So you have the problem that you would have to message them to show their stuff and all that. It just takes too much time for you as a leader to do all that, or you can't get every person on Discord to let them go around your city. You have to have these options to check them a bit more. Whether it's city build, whether it's activity, where Camel already did a lot of stuff, but
yeah.
yeah, there are just points missing.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Yeah, I mean, definitely. So I mean, like what I have done pretty early in 569, basically in Triangle War, and I still do today. In Triangle War, I go through every city that's set up, and setup is mandatory. If you don't set up, you don't play in my alliance. So, and I go through every city. I look at each of those stats and basically point them out and say, oh, your damage reduction isn't good enough. I can see you haven't built the equipment, or your melee HP is lacking, or you look through all of those stats. It's a tremendous amount of work, but there is no other option to kind of guide your players in your alliance to come together and form a fighting force. Because what's also not very well known is that if you fight with someone that is much weaker than you, it makes you weaker.
Yeah, you give up
And
so
you're
many points.
basically,
You
yeah.
give, yeah,
So that's
and
kind of,
so for the triangle thing or for the Doom thing, I did this stat check as well, but it takes so much time. It could be so much easier to just click if you're some R5 or R4, you just click on the
yeah,
profile and then maybe see a stats overview. Or if you go
yeah.
to a big battle report, you can see or point out things like, yeah, I want to see the long range attack of every player instead of what they lost. So you can just scroll through and check what they have.
So there is basically the only way is doing it manually and doing by hand. Yeah, the scouting is quite trouble, kind of a puzzle to me. Like, why can I know less about people in my alliance than somebody not in my alliance? It kind of always bothered me that I cannot scout my alliance members.
Uh, yeah,
I don't
It's
really get
probably
the
due
point.
to
Why?
you pissing off the whale in your alliance and them just burning your ass, or somebody
I
like a
get
little
this.
bit stronger than you and burning your ass. Like, I
oh,
don't know. People are weird in this game.
no, wait, I
But
don't
yeah,
think you get the point.
then
So a person outside of your alliance can basically scout everyone in your alliance and see how many troops they have, what the technology levels are and shit. But you as an alliance leader or alliance member, you can't check all those stuff. You have to be um, outside the alliance or maybe create a farm or something like that to check all your members. But you as a leader, without leaving your alliance or doing it over a third city, you can't check what the people have.
and that brings me back to that whole point. There is a transition from solo play to group play, and in the group, I need to understand how your city is being built. And I get this, what you were saying. So I didn't tripping out, was it? Sorry if
Yeah.
I get that wrong. Yes, because Camel sends you that strange message. Oh, somebody's spying on you. Do something. It's like they're making it sound like there's like oh, there's going to be something happen, and all it is basically, I want to know, is your city safe? Is your city well built? You got the right amount of troops? Are you carrying over all those T1, T2, T3? I had in my first alliance before my first merge, we had a city that got T26, that got 10 million troops. They
Oh
basically
my
saved
god.
every troop he ever produced and never deleted one.
Oh,
They
Gummy
never
Bear,
played Void.
Gummy Bear City.
10 million, that's crazy.
They collected troops for like 1.5 years. I think he had the first soldier he ever made. You know? So,
Damn.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
but
think in that scenario, well, not that specific scenario you were just saying there, but the topic of being able to scout your alliance members, I think to just kind of get around that game mechanic in that way, I think it would be good if, I don't know, like say on the commander page, if it's a city within your own alliance and you're say R4 plus, if on that commander page there was like a button there that you could press that could do like, you know, show what you would want to see if you were scouting their city from a city outside the alliance. That way you just get around that game mechanic entirely, but you still get the same function. I think that would be useful.
that would something new. And then you can also do it while they are shielded or while they have fog. So we could
like
other people
irregardless
knowing it.
of the mechanic. Yeah.
Yeah, but we can basically know what's going on. So I kind of the thing that gives me hope that Camel does want to change something is what they done on improvement with the tracking of event participation. That's like, oh, thank goodness. I mean, I've been tracking EVs manually as well to see who's coming in, who's not coming in, so we can find better times. But that is a time sink, you know, going through it and checking it out and then figuring it out. So at least now we got something to look at. Like, you know, okay. Yeah,
But still, it's just taking one step away. You still have to put it all into a spreadsheet to check and compare it with all the other members, but it's at least something. It could have been so much easier.
What I mostly do is, for example, for EVs, I look who isn't showing up. And then I look over the past months, okay, who are the people who are not showing up? And then trying to figure out why are you not showing up? And what is it that we need to do? Or your activity is, you know, as such that you should not be playing in the top alliance. You know, goodbye.
Yeah, you're right.
And I mean, one thing that I also found, and that's, I have no solution to that, except, you know, I hope people are more open. The translator is nice, but oh my God, it gets a lot of things wrong, especially from Russian and Arabic and Chinese. A lot of what I understand they're trying to say doesn't translate.
Oh yeah.
You really get, you know, you're really getting a lot of people upset with strong opinion. Oh, he said that, yeah, but in Russian it means a different thing. You know, it doesn't mean that he is personally attacking you. It's very, very difficult to get everybody to be chilled.
Yeah, or the Vietnamese gets translated very, very bad. Maybe you notice that in your nation, but I sometimes wake up and see a message, yeah, let's burn the grandmother of whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck? What you trying to say?
Yeah.
A different translator would be so much better, and it would cause less confusion, so much less confusion. But yeah, okay, more conflicts means more packages sold. You're right, but does it?
Kind of.
I don't know.
I have my own thoughts on that. Because so I would feel more conflict, more packages sold is a very short-term peak because it's not sustainable. Because people have, okay, there's something that I noticed a lot of where I living. That basically every shop who opens at the opening day, they have a 50% discount. The next day they have 50% discounts. It always go on. There's always a discount. So you're having a product in a market where you can't sell if you don't give discounts. So you basically that means you're overpriced, and then people will stop if you put the real price in. And the same thing is if you buy more because you're in a conflict situation, you overspend. You're unsustainable. You need to cut back. And the cutback comes mostly by people saying, you know what? I quit.
Right.
You know? So that's what I kind of see from it's a short-term gain, but it's not sustainable. The same thing as if you try to get people in your shop with discounts, the moment you put the prices where they should be, those are not your customers. So it's kind of, that's my thinking. I'm not sure if that is clear.
Yeah,
But yeah.
and with that translation problem, it's not just to cause conflicts. It's also when leading events, for example. So let's say Void. We could add something like we have in Polar, or we have in Elite War, or in Duel of Dominance. Just press a button and tell everybody, yeah, we go in 5, instead of, yeah, we have to type it all in the chat, press G5, or all this plus thing. It could be so much easier. Just share city and give us the option that everybody can either say, yeah, I'm in, or I'm out. And then it shows up above the city and just the alliance can see it or something like that. But with the translation issue, it's so much harder to understand, yeah, this or that person needs a minute more to hide their troops. And yeah, I know it would make you earn more money. It would make Camel earn more money. But this way, it just makes people quit the game more often because of mistakes that could be prevented.
But you say that, go in 5. I don't know how often it happens that you say go, you get 3 or 4 people joining in, then another guy posts another target, and another guy posts another target, and you're off track and you have to restart your count. Like, how often does this happen in a war?
Dude,
Yeah.
I
Every
think we
day.
once kicked someone, or Mac kicked a guy at some point because they did that. It's funny, but after that, no one ever did it again.
Yeah. But those are the shared experience. For me, I'm validated in this is a problem because everybody has the same experience. It happens with everybody who's going down that road, that we get that same experience. What doesn't really work when you're trying to lead an alliance,
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking about the
think,
cross nation, yeah.
You know, it would help though. Camel told us how the game actually fucking worked.
That's our next point. That is our next point. So okay, so we kind of cross-nation events. I think when cross-nation events start, the game really starts. I think that's the turning point for many players.
Yeah. Especially once we have Void. Void is like well, for me, it's the most fun and biggest event I'm waiting for the whole month. And then seeing all those big battles, big alliances was big alliances, 40 was 40 battles, 50 was 50. It's just so much fun. And that just points out that coordination and participation is just the key to victory. You need to be disciplined. You need to discipline your members to be able to win. Yes, a whale is nice, but a whale alone can't do anything.
You need to guide. You need to be able to guide your people, and that's kind of where we're missing all those tools. Voice chat is nice. Discord is nice. Coordinating on Discord is nice, but you kind of it's a 24-hour event. So how much coordination can you do over a 24-hour period? We tried several times and we never really managed to get ongoing coordination. It's kind of really, I can get a few people in. We maybe get 20, 30 people together, and after half an hour it fizzles out. So yeah, I understand. I mean, it is what it is. It's a 24-hour event, What we have is whales, and I don't want to, say rude things about whales, but we have a lot of whales that are not team players.
No, but you're right. I don't know. Well, you're a pretty strong player too. You're 40, right?
41.
41, yeah, 41. but you understand that it's better to attack with the team, because if you solo attack, you don't get as many kills and you get more losses. Instead, when you attack with 4 people more, then you have less losses and you get more kills. Yes, as a whale,
that's
you
also-
should... Yeah, go.
That's also a forth and back, because there's two things that you need to be considered. If your alliance
Hey, buddy.
isn't
Let me know about the
aligned,
dinner and stuff. Yeah. We'll talk to Tori and then we'll figure something out. All right, buddy.
Yo, Boogie, you are muted.
okay.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry, fellas.
If your alliance isn't aligned with your whale in terms of stats development, you could seriously hurt your whale. So I have seen several fights where basically 2 41s solo did more damage than 1 41 and 10 34s, because it's just the composition of troops and what you bring and how you can push down stats by having weaker cities join. There is a real effect there. So I understand many whales saying that I better go solo because I'm getting more. It's debatable. We all need to make compromises, because in the end of all, you as a whale can't fight alone. You need the other city. So it is a give and take from both. It's basically, we form super alliances because we want the strongest player in one alliance, because that helps the alliance. So having a C40 and a C41 attack together is just waste of time, honestly, for the 41.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you gotta point out that it's just important for some events. So, for example, in Elite War, it doesn't matter whether you kill whether you get more losses on your side by having 10 people in more, but your overall hit strength is just stronger because of the bodies you're having with you. So
Sure.
for
So
Void
every
and
event
Frenzy, it
is-
might be better to do these solo attacks, but not all the time. Like,
No.
yeah,
I
when
wouldn't say it is. I mean, I would say, I mean, if your alliance is close together in strength, then you definitely attack together. You get way more kills. I mean, especially if you look at the events that are happening. So you find an open city, you send an attack in. Usually, you get one attack in the city bubbles. So if you do solo, you kill 40-50%. If you have 5, 6, 7 guys in there, you kill 70-80%. So your chances of winning the event is a lot higher if you've been able to bring enough troops together. But as I said, you need to build alliances that are kind of together. It's not good to have a C40 and a C38 in the same alliance. Kind of.
Yeah.
You need to bring them together. But the issue is, I think, with the whole game boils down to in the cross-nation event, you do not know who is losing points.
Right.
So that is a key realization that we had. I mean, everybody comes to after a certain point, that if you basically have to run an event where you can only see who is scoring, but you can't see who is losing points, then you actually don't have information how to fight better.
Yeah, something like that.
you
Like this or that person lost the most points in the whole event, or just give us the battle points you get in each battle on the battle report. That would also be a lot more helpful. That way we can just tell the people, yeah, post a report, and then we will see how much you lost.
But even that is an issue, because people hype them and say, "Oh no, I deleted the game, crash. It didn't happen." Like so kind of.
Well, if someone
The
gets
cross-nation
zeroed, we
event-
know they gave up a lot of points. But in general, I want to see how much my battle scored. So if I attack someone and I kill 500k troops, cool, I killed 500k troops, but how much is that in points? And that alone would be helpful already.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, we have it in Iron Blood. There is a score right in the battle report. I think something like that would definitely help. It should not focus on only how many points I got. I also should be having a report how many points I lost.
Yeah, right.
That for
Yeah,
me is the key issue.
I think
Maybe
there's
have the
definitely
difference.
two factors to it, like not being able to see who is giving up over time. So like getting it on the reports is good and it's necessary. Like we need it really badly, but
Yeah.
having something similar to battle contribution, or at a minimum, putting it on, I don't know, like the event page, like when it shows your individual points showing. I mean, this is at like a minimum if they didn't want to go down the battle contribution route
So
giving points.
alliance, it should show at least an alliance, how much the alliance is. Individual battles. So I've been thinking about that in preparation for this talk. Like if a player individually loses a lot of points, that player, if they're being called out, there's going to be issues. They may not want to play, and Camel may not want to embarrass an individual player, especially not as a real player. But at least we should have the information and the battle report. And I think it would be good if it shows at the event page. If you see how many points made by the alliance, it should also show how many points lost.
Yeah, I just feel like if they're already doing that, I don't see why they can't put a plus and a minus, like how many points they earned, slash how many points
Maybe
they
just
lost
show
on
us how what the difference is. Like when you attack someone, you still give the defender some points, and just show us the difference. So actually shows how many points we made, and that number can either be negative or positive.
Yeah, on reports, I think the number one thing, like for instance in Enoch's VIP group or whatever, right? I think the number one thing we should be pushing is just to get something similar to what Ironblood has at a bare minimum on reports, because without that, you end up with scenarios like 896 had versus 904, where regardless of not having much ability to fully explain for ourselves what happened, but just being able to point to reports and say, hey, we checked the score before and after this report, and we clearly won on points on this battle. We have no way to show that without pulling out a fucking abacus and spending literally like 30 minutes for one damn report because we're sending like 40 people.
Yeah, but I mean, you saw this with God of Death in your. Wait, did you play Void? Yeah, in the Void.
Yeah, it was during Void.
If he would have seen that he lost 40 million points with every attack, he would have stopped immediately. And it's like a two-bladed sword. For the people or for the whales that just keep hitting over and over and over again, they will now see that they will lose points. But for us, for the leaders to track in the nation in general, it's just an upgrade.
There is something that we have with whales, and them losing points is basically, it doesn't matter to them because they're still getting the reward. We had whales in our nation opening their cities to get a hit to get Void Tyrant.
Yeah, well, then you're just not a team player.
Yeah.
I mean, then
sure. No.
I don't know.
Sure, they are not. They are not. I get this. They are not. But there isn't really any information or data because they keep saying, "Oh no, it was an accident. Happened." Like I look at the battle log and I wonder, why does the battle log only show you the video? Why is there no data? Could you not just add the information there? How many troops lost? How many points lost? Why is that so difficult? If you already have a place where you show the video about that battle, even if you don't want to share the report, I can still see how many points you lost.
Yeah.
Would be cool.
I would almost rather see the report than the video. And you would assume that it would be less costly resources wise on the back end for them to just put the reports there instead of the video.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I mean, with the
Yeah.
thing you said, some whales unbubbling just to get a hit. The reward system is just encouraging players to play selfish. And
Yeah.
this isn't helping what the game is supposed to be at all. And players just want
And
to
I think-
score as much as they can on their own.
And I think that is exactly the problem that we have with this game. That it is encouraging team play, it is developing towards team play, but it's rewarding individual actions, even if that action is actually losing you the event.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of where we put the finger on that. That's something that we need to figure out how to change that. We need to have more transparency. So kind of, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. So kind of, but what's happening is basically, if the event is lost and nobody really knows why, we have a lot of discussions in Nation in terms of, why was the event lost? Who gave up? Who gave up points? Was it the second alliance? Was it farmers? Who is to blame? And it's very refreshing in the newer worlds. That is not so much a discussion, but in the older worlds, oh my god, so much hate towards farmers, and farmers lost us the event, and farmers did this, farmers did this. It's
it's still a problem here. It's
Okay. I don't see it as much. I don't see it as much here in this Discord than I see it in the older ones.
Oh no.
it's
We
true.
just trained our guys the right way, and the people on here are mostly leaders, and they understood that you either have somebody to train to be a fighter, or they just want the game to play, for themselves.
So kind of, what I see basically after every void that we are losing, there are endless debates on who is to blame. In my opinion, honestly, I always feel it's the top alliance. There isn't really that much points to give at the second alliances because they don't really have that much BP. So it is usually the top alliance that has lost the fights by not coordinating well enough, by not defending well enough, or by having a big city losing the bubble and getting zeroed. There is one noticeable difference. Like if you fight some of the Chinese nations, like when we have 693 with Ronaldo, their second alliances want to lose the event and they give points. So
Yeah.
that's,
We played them in
kind
some
of different
event.
scenario.
I think we played them in Polar. I don't know which one. And I was ready to lose because they are, on paper, they should be so much stronger than we are, but we demolished them.
Yeah.
We won by a couple thousand points, but they were like the 5th rank or something like that. So we demolished them, and they were our neighbors.
In Void, we Void and Frenzy, we both beat them quite substantially. So
Yeah, I mean, but
that's
to be honest, the Chinese nations are
outlier.
just bad at Void and Frenzy. At least most of them in the newer nations.
Yes, and I think they are bad at this because they have the same problem. They don't really have information how you win or lose a voids because Camel doesn't provide you this data. Camel doesn't tell you why you lose this event. And then everybody is making up their own ideas of why we lose it. Everybody's trying different things. Everybody's trying to figure out how can we make it better. And in the end, you have no data, so you never figure it out.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem. We need those data to be able, or for the leadership to be able to build a successful nation, to make players not quit the game, so Camel can earn more money over a long amount of time.
I think that is exactly the issue. So, and I think it's, as we already established, it's easy to do. You put it in the scoreboard, you show points lost, points won at the end of the event. Everybody can see it. It is not the second alliance who have lost the points. It's the first alliance. So you can see that, who lost points. As a leader, you can go in and you can figure out how to make my own alliance better to not lose points, rather than pointing fingers at some other alliances and then starting a civil war.
Yeah. Those civil wars. I mean, there are multiple reasons for the civil wars. I mean, one of them we talked about already. Either the leadership or multiple leaderships get head to head because they just lost some cross nation event due to people dropping the bubbles or whatever. And there can be multiple reasons for civil war, but that's probably the most relatable reason.
Because I feel like every whale wants to win the event. If the whales lose the events and there's somebody else to blame, basically they are saying, oh, I spent so much money here and you are losing me the event. I don't want you to play here.
Exactly. And who's gonna stop that for you? If there's a 40, you can burn them, but they just gonna have the little troop, the little fleet, and they can just attack you once a day with their SOS and with the slaughter and exterminate, and you will lose points. No, you will lose troops, and you can't do anything against it. The person is just so much stronger, and you just lose troops every single time, no matter how many defenders you have in your city waiting for him to attack you. You can't do anything against those losses.
So that's kind of the next point. Once you get into a civil war, what's the way out? I mean, like for me, the first, I really say, for me, civil wars start because people can't agree of why we're losing events. And actually, they start because there's a disagreement of why are we losing them and what's the fix. And then you got two opposing parties. One party says, oh, the fix is to drive the farmers off the server. The other party says, no, the fix is of having troop limits. No, the fix is of having BP limits. You got all kind of different ideas, and everybody is basically not being able to agree. And then you get into a civil war. Yeah. And as you already said, a civil war, a single C40 can, through simple attrition, destroy your nation. It may take 3 or 6 months, but you're going to get there. And yes, spending goes up in the first or 2 weeks or 3 weeks because everybody okay, I need to settle down. I need to get some more shields. I need to maybe get my Kingsley set up, and I need to get some defensive stats, and there is some activity and excitement, but it pretty much ends very soon in simple attrition. That, as you said, you have that one C40 doing an SOS with slaughter every single day. And you have no defense. Because that's another thing, that in the game, there is no warning if somebody attacks your alliance. That's kind of weird because there is an alarm if somebody attacks my flag. So obviously Campbell has that system to alert everybody to an attack on the flag. Why can't there be an alert if somebody attacks my team member? What's more important, my team member or a flag?
Right? I mean,
some kind of feeling.
You still have to. I mean, if you don't want to get a message every time your alliance member gets attacked, you can still do this pass block thing as you do for flags and alliance file and shit.
Yeah.
But it's, as you said, it's not really making sense at all. Why would I want to defend a flag which I can just repair the next 10 hours or so, or just let it burn down and just replenish one? It doesn't make sense.
So it's either this is something Camel forgot, or it's intentional. And if it is intentional, then it's kind of, so Camel kind of likes Civil War, which kind of goes back to the issue, is that something that they enjoy having? And I feel like that's maybe more of an issue, that Camel doesn't test Civil Wars. So Camel, you got a test server, you test all the functions of the game. So I'm sure that the new officer equipment has been thoroughly tested, everybody checked, everybody used it, everybody done. But on the test server, there is never any social issues arising because nobody plays there. Everybody just logs in and tests something. You don't have a scenario where you have a prolonged civil war where somebody is always attacking you, and be honest, shielding will never be perfect, and Camel understand that, because Frenzy and Void are based on you drop your shield. That's the whole event. I'm waiting for you to drop your shield, and it happens in old nations, in new nations. People forget it. People do something and forget it. So we all know that there is no way of having a perfect shield. So why is it that I cannot get an alert if somebody attacks me. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, they can't test Civil War on the test servers. That points out the biggest issue the developers are having. They can't test the social environment at all. Like the problems we are pointing out, they aren't able to test those because they're mainly leadership problems. For the normal player, it doesn't change a lot, but it just changes the quality of leadership. And those problems only arise once you get more or deeper into the game with years of experience or months of playing events and shit like that. It just can't be tested on those simple test servers.
Because it's all subjective to the
Yep.
server because everyone's different, right? All whales can be different, all players can be different. And it's impossible to fucking get data on that.
Yes, and not only that,
course.
they just can't test the social environment because they don't have the time and mainly the time for it to test it as long. And because of those people being different and people being people, they wanna be they wanna have this power to be stronger than everyone else. That's the only reason why games like these work. They have to do the tests based on being, oh, I forgot the word, rational, based on being rational. And this isn't the
They
way.
do function.
Yeah, exactly.
They do function tests. I test a function. Does this function work? Yes, perfect. I test the function. Yeah, I mean, they also developers. I mean, I can tell this from personal experience. Developers haven't invested the time or the money as many players have, so they're not having this attachment of losing 6 months of work in a single attack because you had a bubble, you brought your troops home, power failed, you couldn't get back in, you get back online 2-3 hours later, and everything is lost.
Basically, it's like classroom work versus on-hands work is basically what you're comparing to. Like, a person gets a job, 3 years of experience versus the guy that just came out of the classroom and is above the guy that has said experience.
Yes, you could say that, yeah. And Camel also hasn't really created an environment where they are listening to that. So I mean,
Oh,
yes,
no.
we got the VIP program, so I can tell my VIP certain things, but I have a feeling that the internal management structure of Camel, the developers look at the customer service stuff, which are basically the VIP reps, as like, yeah, you just keep players from annoying us. I don't know
guess,
how many
yeah.
of the information is actually passed through to the developers and looked at critical. I think some information is, because we do see some changes. You know, just today we got that 5-hour shield, the 5-8 hour shields that automatically recuperates. Great thing. You know,
Oh,
we
so
have-
Yeah,
it, so
yeah.
it actually, so somebody actually tested it. So like after 8 hours, it hits it again.
No.
After
It's
you use one for 8 hours, and then there's a timer, 5 days, where it comes back.
Oh, so it doesn't so it won't auto refresh itself if you're offline into another 8-hour bubble. Is what I was asking, I guess. Okay, I didn't
No,
think so. That would be kind of busted.
But you will get 5 free 8-hour shields that you can use during void that recuperate automatically.
Yeah, those are for the non-addicts.
no.
Because if you're an addict like all the
Recuperates.
rest of us, you probably have a stack of 8-hour shields already, well reaching over 100.
Oh,
I do
dude,
have
I
over
don't.
100. I never used them.
Exactly, right? So it's like fucking. Oh yeah, it's good for the people that play every so often that don't maybe sign in every single day and get their free 8-hour shield a week, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have it. They have it. I mean,
That's
it's
good.
So they done this. They done the update for the alliance battle contributions. They done this. I mean, I can see positive changes in the game where they take more into account of how the game works. So I don't feel a lot of information passes from VIP to developers, but some information do. And well, we can only hope that we can increase that. We need to get more people to talk more often to the VIPs about that issue. And I think if more people talk, maybe something.
Well, I mean, like, I'm sure it's an issue that's already been, like, I'm sure Bryce has brought it up plenty of times. Like, you know, like, they don't kind of like make the rewards match the strength and like where you're at in the nation. You know what I mean? Like, they keep giving you like the same low level 1 city crap as you're like progressing.
I'm talking to my PvP all the time, and like, you know, like your rewards are the joke of the game.
Yeah, it's a joke. And then like look at how much the whales spend to get the same fucking reward every fucking event. And it's like nothing, man. You can get that out of buying like fucking $4 $20 packs. And this person's spending like over $1,000 and that's what you're giving them? Like what the fuck, man?
So I suggested to my VIP, you know what? Just don't give rewards.
I mean,
But
how I
you
got
should
myself
do-
from fucking spending is like I got the water park, right? Like before knowing anything about that stupid spin the wheel event. And I'm just like, before I know it, I'm already a fucking $1,000 deep in this shit. And then they give me the VIP status and this and that. I'm like, oh cool, I get to talk to somebody that works for the game. And they're like, oh yeah, you spent $1,000. Here's a little coupon code, and it gives me like a 3-day city skin. I'm like, what the what, really? This is what I get for spending a rack with you guys? I'm done. Fuck this. Like what the fuck? And not to mention the fact that they're the ones that are considered the VIP and not the spender. The spenders should be called the VIPs because they're the ones that are funding the game, not the
No,
fucking
I think they are,
employees.
I think the VIP it's called VIP representative. They basically work for
okay.
you. You're the VIP, they are the representative. I think they
Alright.
just the
Probably just got that
isn't really-
confused.
Yeah. Chinese has a lot of those words where they basically put them the other way around than in English.
It's because
Burger King
it's because most of their language is based on dialect,
They're a
right?
Hong Kong company. They're a Hong Kong company, so Hong Kong-based Chinese company. They did a lot of yeah. So, but getting along into the civil war issue, as Rotter already pointed out,
All right,
the
well,
attacks in the civil war are 100% for the attacker only.
It
The
depends.
defense is
Depends.
basically getting
No.
Right
It doesn't
now, we're at a
depend.
point in our civil war where people are getting wiped out considerably, like zeroed, like high level BP cities, and now people are using like T1s and whatever to attack with.
Yeah,
Because
but
we send like a bunch of T1s and we're killing their high level troops with it.
if you do it
you're
right,
completely
then it
just-
doesn't work like this. If you do it right, everybody is shielded, and every now and then a bubble drops, and then everybody does an SOS attack right after another, and you can't even defend it because you have these skills like slaughter and exterminate. So you always kill some troops, no matter what. How many defenders are there? Even if you lose the battle in like 10 seconds, you still killed some troops. They still have losses, not only wounded troops. Meanwhile, the attacker only has wounded troops and can heal them in, I don't know, 7 days or something like that.
For me, okay, a C41 doing an attack on another whale, you have like 40 days of heal.
Yeah.
So it gets expensive.
Yeah.
But what here the key is that even if you lose the battle, you still think you won because you killed them. There's a reinforcement loop that comes in that I still killed your troops. So and then you have that reinforcement that I lost the battle, but I killed your troops, and that keeps it going. So we kind of have the scenario that you're getting surprise attacks. You don't know when the attack is coming in. There is like nothing in this game. When I normally play that game, you will not notice an attack. There's just only one screen. If you go to battle page and you look at that screen, that's the only place you see an attack. Everywhere else in the game you play, you wouldn't even be aware of that. So it's a surprise attack. And then even if you by chance see it and you send your troops in, your troops are dying. So what for me is the situation is that people get discouraged to even send defense. So you may wake up, your city is zeroed, there have been 5-6 people online, and nobody sent reinforcements. And how do you feel about your alliance? You kind of, you're shitty people. I don't want to play with you. I don't want to play this game because like I'm losing. there's nothing to win here. I cannot win. So why even bother to play? So I think psychologically for me, that's the aspect that I don't understand why Kemmel leaves this in the game.
Yeah, and if you notice that your alliance didn't do anything, or mainly your alliance didn't do anything, then you might just lose interest in the game. And if many people think like this, then the nation just dies out. That's why Civil War is so bad for your nation. People quit over simple things.
It's attrition. It's a long-term attrition.
I quit because I wanted to play peacefully in my nation. But
you're still logging into our Discord like every 2 hours.
Sorry,
do you want me? Anyways, like before you cut me off, and I came back because there's no point. I already put so much time into it, so I'm also just continue the sunken cost fallacy.
Nice. Welcome to the club. I'm here as well for that reason.
Marauder rudely cut me off and made me try to look like an asshole.
Dude, you told me so proudly, yeah, I quit the game. It's gonna be so weird tomorrow when I wake up.
I was explaining why the reason why I quit is because of these reasons, because I'm going through what you guys are talking about. So I'm telling you from my personal experience because I'm living
just
it
picking
right
on
now.
you. I'm picking on you.
Oh, I know. So like I was gonna quit because I thought like, this is fucking stupid. Everything that we're getting pulled into is because a small group of players. They broke their terms and conditions with Camel, and Camel broke their terms and conditions and refunded the player like they shouldn't have. But at this point in time, I'm like, okay, well, what can I do here? Well, I'm in an alliance where I can hide my troops, and I'm almost out of resources, like where they can take. I'm not completely out of resources. I got shitloads of resources in my bag, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, how can I play through this? And I think the best way to play through this is probably just have like maximum of 1 to 2 fleets and no takeable resources.
Yeah, but when you basically become like, then you're kind of, the rest of the game is no longer enjoyable to you.
That's true. But I mean, if you're trying to survive through it, these are like the coping mechanisms I'm explaining of what I'm trying to do to continue through it.
For me, kind of, I mean, you're in this situation, and I understand. So basically, Civil War is unwinnable.
Well, both sides lose. No party wins, and it's like, so what? You zero me? Okay, I'll just recruit more fucking troops, and I'll just keep going at it. I don't give a shit. I can keep going. This can just be endless. It doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, the only person that loses is the nation, because there's going to be no one with enough troops left to win against any other nation, and the professor's not going to be able to do that by themselves. Good luck.
So, and it's going to go down. The whole nation is going to go down the train, but kind of looking at what has caused that, and I feel like what has caused the nation to die is lack of understanding how you lose events. Lack of any notification of when there's an attack. And then you have that issue, as you highlighted, that the attacker can always kill you and you have no defense. If you put those things together, as soon as the nation can no longer agree of what is the best way forward, the nation dies. And even the whales stop spending. And not many whales, I mean, some do, but not many whales restart a new city in a new nation.
Yeah. Whales shouldn't be giving their fucking cities away to people that don't spend money. That's for sure.
Yeah, but sorry, I can't. I mean, like, that's also something I see people try to buy big cities and don't understand how much they cost to run. I mean, you cannot.
Camel also needs to step in and like make some sort of like third party thing where people can safely, if they don't need to lie on their terms and they don't need to lie on their terms and conditions. Instead, they could just change it around instead of making themselves look like fucking complete assholes. They could just step in, make a third party system, and like be able to have a safe way for players to sell and trade their cities. So that way you don't have to worry about getting scammed.
I have proposed this several times in other games that we as a company where I worked for as publisher did. For some reason, this trade between players is not a thing people do in China. So that's completely alien to them as a system. I know that exists in some of the other games, that is not from China, but I never seen this in a Chinese game, so I'm not very hopeful.
Well, I'm sure they're familiar with they do a service for somebody and somebody pays them in return, right? That's kind of like a trading thing. Like that's
The
like
concept
been like the
understood.
beginning of time since like humans have like started evolving. Like I don't understand how this concept is alien to them. Like what the fuck?
In the game.
No, I
It's
get
not
it, but
happening.
it just like, you know, it's like I want to give something to somebody else. They don't want to give me money, but they take my thing. I don't understand how that's alien. The person frauded me.
No. Escrow, of course, is understood in escrow. I mean, they get this, but I never seen this in any Chinese game. So that I'm saying, so I'm not quite hopeful. Yeah. So kind of bring this to conclusion is the game has a lot of mechanisms that prioritize personal gains over teamwork, getting you basically screwed over by some of the players. It has a lot of issues with making teams work. And has a lot of issues of basically telling you how the game works, which is exactly the point.
I've thought about like there's ways to circumvent that, but it's gonna be like a time gated thing per nation thing. Like you're only allowed to like be as strong as like a certain period in the nation, and then as the nation evolves, then it opens up the next section where you can get more and more stronger to try and like circumvent somebody just blowing like $1 million in fucking 3 months and then just burning everybody out of the nation.
Oh, but then they're alone basically. It doesn't really help them because you're not winning events alone, you know. I mean, the Vegas cities are nice, but you know, like the rest of the nation is C34, or I'm not quite sure what the next
At this
city
point,
is
yeah.
after him, you know. Yeah. So kind of also, I mean, like the other big thing of why civil wars come up is because nobody understands how mergers work. I mean, I feel like I figured it out based on looking at all the mergers that happen, and you see the pattern, and I understand what the development work is involved. But it would be so cool if the representatives actually would say, you know what, mergers are not done by anything that you do in your nation. It's a process that we do together across a group of nations. That's it. Don't try to kill your players to hope you get a merge.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is like from a rational point of view, the only reason why they do mergers is because both of those servers are fucking dying, so it makes sense to put both those servers together on one server to free up server space for another nation.
I mean,
that definitely is.
That's just my guess on it. That's just a guess.
No. That is exactly right. I mean, I run games before where we merge nations, and we merge them based on lower activity. But they are merged based in a system of what workload do I have. So kind of in Camel, I can see that they have time schedules when their developer have time, and then they take a bunch of nations that are close together, and they merge them. But there's nothing to do with the individual nation having killed all their farmers or didn't log in or didn't spend. I mean, all those crazy things. I remember how crazy we went before our first merger trying to force a merger. And nobody understood where mergers come from. People said, oh, you have to kill all your farmers. You have to stop logging into your farms. You have to stop spending. You have to lose civil war. You have to lose void.
Okay, I gotta say something about this topic. So I got 3 things that are taken into the mergers and that got confirmed by Camel. First thing is the weekly, monthly, yearly activity, daily as well. So all the cities that are logging into your city, logging into your nation, basically. Then the second thing is all the items that are being consumed. So if you have 200 players, they're gonna use more items than a nation that only has 50 players. And that's where the spending part comes into play, basically. If the nation with 150 players uses exactly as many items as the nation with 200 players, they're gonna be spending more money to use more items. And the third thing, I can't open the chat. I gotta do it on my phone really quick. Give me a second. Yeah. So where is it? I shared it a lot of times already, but okay.
I almost would say it is of not a lot of consequence because you're going to get merged in the group of nations that are around you. They're getting merged. They're
Yes,
not gonna
but
merge your nation,
no,
singly
no.
pointing you out.
But look, so
And
I
say,
can say that from my experience in 923 right now. We are one of the top 10 oldest unmerged nations right now, and we are pretty organized, I would say. We don't have a very high BP. We have high BP, but we don't. So all the things that could be considered as, yeah, you guys aren't getting a merger because of this or that. But there are these three key factors, and if you check those out, then you understand why we don't get a merge. Because now I got the third one. The third one is event activity. So that can count in the wins, that can count in how many players actually participate in events to see how actively people actually are in the nation. Or that can also be how many points does the average player score to see how well developed a nation is. And because of those 3 points, I could understand why 923 isn't getting a merger. And those points are confirmed by Camel. So this is nothing to argue about.
And you would need to destroy your nation.
Well, it's a possibility. That's why Civil War nations get a merger earlier than most of the other nations.
So what I have seen in the merger pattern, the nations like you see it right now, there was a lot of mergers, and there are certain old nations, one or two that forgotten the last time got merged, and then everything else is in the 800 and 900s that basically got merged. So my suspicion is that they have a certain range of nations that they're going to merge. There are going to be some outliers from some older ones that haven't gotten a merge, or some newer ones that look too weak. They're going to put in there, but there's going to be a timetable where they work through.
Yes.
Now Globe 11, Globe 12. Then we go back and do Globe 1, Globe 2, Globe 3. It is not like, oh, I do Globe 1, Globe 2, Globe 3, and I do one nation in Globe 11.
No, you're right. So time is a factor as well. It wouldn't make sense to just merge on certain points like the ones I just said. As I said, it's only 3 points of the things that are being considered.
I believe those 3 points being looked at, and if you're outside of those 3 points, they may not merge you. You might be forgotten, kind of say, oh, we can hold off with them. Because I think it's also workload. How much work can the developers do? How much time do they have? What's the timetable? What's the pool that they have? You need to take this into consideration.
Yeah.
Apparently, it takes a lot of time for them to prepare for that merger.
Well. I mean, that's
what they say.
Yeah. It doesn't. It's like no difference if you merge a nation that doesn't follow any of these 3 points, or a nation that follows all of these 3 points. It's basically the same workload.
But it could also be that they're looking at those points to find you a partner.
Yes.
It's not necessarily they decide we're going to get a merge or not, but those points are basically deciding who you're going to be merged with.
No, but that's pretty random, I would say, from what I've seen so far. Pretty random.
So from my experience doing 2 mergers, basically the first merger, we basically got a list of nations that are in the pool, and we could tell Camel which we like.
Yes, normally that's the case, but for example, in the last merger pool, they didn't do that. They basically just sent out the message, you're on the list, but normally they would say, yeah, send us or suggest us the nations you want to merge with. But this time, at least from what I've seen, they didn't do it. So maybe it was due to the holidays and they didn't want to do more work than they need to do, and they just did it, yeah, you guys are close to each other, or you guys will be a good match, blah blah blah, we're just gonna do it this way. But maybe they changed the system, and since
now they got more work because they do only mergers of 2 nations, so there is more mergers to be done, so they will increase in workload.
They didn't really do more mergers number wise.
But I think those is kind of a factor. coming in as well. You got civil wars because you want to force a merger. You got civil wars because you don't understand why you lose events. So if Camel could basically address those points and give us the information, the game or the nation would run more smooth, and I think more players would stay in the game, not being turned off by being zeroed out.
Right.
My opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yo, Aya, you're not muted.
So that's what I have on my script.
Yeah.
You guys wrote scripts for this, okay?
I wrote scripts for this. Yes,
That's why everything sounds so cold and calculated.
Oh,
No, but we wanted to go through this pretty organized.
It was a joke. It was a
No,
joke.
no. But it's different than the other ones we had. But we wanted to have this one organized so Camel can watch this to get.
No, it's
sort
professional.
of-
I like it.
yeah.
I was thinking about doing the same thing before I came in here, but then I just woke up.
You wanted to write a script this morning?
You know me, I'll just wing it.
Look, wait. This is the script. Elodin did a lot of work for this one.
You guys touch base on a lot of important points. That's for sure. That's good.
Yeah, and I mean,
Bring in
it's...
more free stuff, Camel. Quit taking stuff away from free players.
Yeah.
Bring
I
in
think, yeah,
more
we did a
free
lot of
stuff.
things, I mean, we did a list of things that we also considered. I don't know where I have that list.
Wait, I have
we
it.
wrote down some of the issues that we want to basically present to Camel as well and say, those are some of the things you can fix. I mean, the rewards are a joke. Every single time I look at the rewards and like, what the fuck why is that? I just discovered today that the giant cannon defense gives you a reputation. And I thought like, well, but that's a pure spending event.
No,
Yeah,
that's on every
because-
spending event.
It's because pure okay, like the reputation is just shows you how much you spend on the game. That's it. That's it.
Not
I can
quite.
still
It also
I can
shows
still get
the
reputation, but it's like it's not going to be anything high to where the whales get. But I mean, people are like, oh, look at your
No.
reputation. It's only 15K. It's like, yeah, it's because I don't spend on any event.
No, that's okay. But as I said, I was like, this event shouldn't have reputation because it's a pure spending event. There's no skill involved. I mean, maybe there is. I haven't figured it out. I can't.
No,
I don't like this.
dude, it isn't. Even in the fishing event, you get reputation. And in the car
Really?
racing thing, yeah, you get, for the ranking, you get reputation. So it's just spending. So yeah, but unless anybody has questions or anything, I will just end the podcast now. So we have all this sorted and people can just listen to it without this, bullshit talk at the end. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And we can still do it after the stream on Discord.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for doing all that. I think it's a big help for the community.
I hope so.
So yeah,
It's,
I'll end the
past
stream now.
midnight here.
Okay.